Well, Rivals just dropped the craziest news regarding Ranked, and it's something I'm so excited for. It's almost exactly the points I was touching on in my previous video, and I'm just really glad to hear what I heard. It honestly feels like a kid on his birthday or a kid on Christmas. I got exactly what I wanted, and it's what I was mentioning and preaching for. So, since that's going to be like the highlight of what I'm speaking about in this video, we're just going to jump straight ahead into like the rank changes, and I'm going to tell you why it's the best changes that Rivals could have ever considered, and I'm so glad they've gone down this route. And then, if you're really interested, you're welcome to stick around and hear my thoughts about the other changes. I'll go through the rest of the video, but let's just really dive straight into it.
So set to be reviewed shortly. When Season 2.0 launches, we are shaking up competitive play by resetting ranks.
Awesome. Already, like, his first statement, and I'm just through the moon. So many players at the start of like Season 1.5 were complaining that they didn't want the ranks to reset, and they listened, they didn't reset the ranks, and we saw it was hot garbage. So I'm glad that they've just gone back and they've doubled down on their resetting of ranks. But wait, it gets so much better.
Based on your Season 1.5 standings, each player will drop 9 divisions. For
9 divisions. So before, initially, they wanted to do 7. Now they're doubling down and they're going for a 9 division reset. This is amazing. What this basically means is that they're not going to directly change the way you gain and lose SR. So before, the whole dynamic was they had to find a way to reset ranks to justify why you're gaining so much more SR than you're losing. And that was the whole complaint, right? And if they reset ranks frequently enough, that idea would outweigh the problem, because you're resetting frequently enough that your higher tier players and your higher elo players are getting to higher elo because they're able to play more. They're able to just pump more hours in and win more often to get that edge. Whereas the lower players, the more common players, someone like you or me, are now still able to experience the climb, which was my favorite part about the rank system, but with a heavy emphasis on it's in the time gate of the time that season is operating. Now, it's obviously going to take a whack to the people who only have a limited amount of time to play, so your 9 to 5 dads that come home late from work or whatever the case may be aren't necessarily going to be hitting Grandmaster every 2 seconds, but other than that, right, it just shows that they're going for the idea of resetting ranks rather than adjusting how much you gain for those ranks, which would make sense to keep the seasons going on longer. So they're going for the quicker burst of getting to your rank and getting through the season rather than the slower burning alternative.
instance, if you ended Season 1.5 at Diamond 1, you will start your Season 2.0 journey at Silver 1. Coinciding with the season update and with the increase in maps, we will be rotating maps to keep the battlegrounds fresh. For Season 2.0, Hellfire Gala Crocodile will enter the competitive pool, while Yaska Royal Palace and Tokyo 2099 Shim Shibuya will be retired from ranked play.
Okay, that's pretty standard, right? Like, a lot of games have this. Valorant's an example where just every ranked season there's different maps that are in rotation. It's sad to see them go because there aren't that many maps in general. Like, well, I say that lightly, right? There are a bunch of maps, but the maps felt like you learned them really quick and they didn't get old, but like they just felt very familiar really fast. This will obviously help shake those things up, and it's going to get better and better as they keep adding new maps, but it is still sad to see them remove some more maps from the ranked like roster because of the amount of maps. If there were more maps, it wouldn't be as much of a thing. It's still not a thing, but I really wish that we had a lot more maps before something like this was implemented. Regardless, I'm really excited to see Hellfire Gala, and I'm excited that it's going to change up in ranked.
Tournaments will use the same map rotation as the competitive, but quick match and custom games will still feature every map.
Yeah, this is standard, right? The maps just stay in the quick play and custom. So there's no reason to limit it from that pool.
No rotation there. We've listened to your feedback about competitive play, and here's how we are leveling up the experience. First, we are raising the minimum level requirement for competitive,
which is another point I mentioned that is absolutely amazing. League of Legends, right? You had to get a max level account back in the day before you could play ranked. So what this is going to do is it's going to encourage people to choose whether or not they want to play ranked. You're going to get more of a bigger experience instead of just being funneled straight into ranked. So I'm really happy for this. This is going to it's going to up the ante, and the competitive environment's going to get a little bit more competitive because of this. I know you think, wow, 5 more levels, but honestly, because it's harder to level up each time, like the requirement is those 5 levels are going to like translate to a lot more games than it seems. So your average player hopping into ranked for the first time on a level 15 account is going to be a bit more seasoned than a level 10 player.
To give new players more time to truly master the basics before stepping up to the big leagues.
Which is exactly what I said, right? Just in different words.
Also, pick and ban will now come into play starting from Gold 3.
Okay, this one specific change kind of sucks, just because I'm a Spider-Man main and everyone hates Spider-Man, so I'm just gonna play him less games. He's gonna be banned more frequently. But the idea of pick and ban going down to a lower rank really doesn't matter all that much, because most competitive games have banning no matter what, right? You in League of Legends, you're still banning in Iron, like it's just the standard. So although this is sad for one tricks, because it just means there's less ranks they can play their hero, there's nothing really wrong with this. If anything, it's more competitive. It's a good choice to make.
Rather than Diamond tier. When a team includes players from Eternity or one above all, only dual queuing will be allowed.
Another point spot on with what I mentioned in an earlier video. Again, comparing to League of Legends, right? I said that when you hit master rank, you can't like duo queue anymore. You have to solo queue. This is going to be the equivalent, right? You can only duo queue now. You can't 3, 4, 6 stack anymore. So again, great choice. It's really going to drive and push the competitive experience from a solo or single player perspective, because even if you're always duo queuing with a friend of yours, it's still a lot more self-centric than having a 6-stack team that just stomps with insane communication.
Finally, you all know that the score you earn per competitive match is determined by both the outcome and your individual performance. With the launch of Season 2.0, we will be increasing the weight of individual performances. The better you perform, the more points you will earn in victory, and the fewer points you will lose in defeat.
That line right there was what just sent me through the roof. I was doing flips. Like, it just absolutely made me go crazy. I've been begging for a system that works like this for years. Since I've been playing competitive games and I've understood how like competitive systems work, I've been dying for something like this, because there is no true fair scaling or ranked competitive system that can account for all of the shit that players interact with. It just doesn't exist. But this is a step in the right direction. It incentivizes players to perform as well as possible, no matter the circumstances. Because if you're in a team that's just stomping, and you know that this is the case, you have to step up your game to make sure you're earning as much as you can get from that win. Equally as such, if your team is not carrying the ball and they're really struggling, this incentivizes you to pick up your socks and try your best instead of just give up, because maybe if you get SVP, you'll lose less points. This is spot on exactly how I would design any competitive system, because it's truly highlighting why and how everyone should be trying their best. No matter what's happening, no matter the stakes, if you're already winning, you need to maximize on that win. If you're already losing, you shouldn't be giving up. This is the exact mentality that they need to foster, and this is the one change that I could have been devastated to not see, and I'm so happy they've gone for this route. It is the sole reason that I'm saying with complete confidence now that Marvel Rivals will have the best competitive environment. Already they have the best climbing experience, but it is quickly going to also become the best competitive environment because they're hitting all of these notes from the get-go. They literally hit the ground running, and I'm all for it.
We know many of you are interested in the distribution of players across the Season 1.5 tiers. To satisfy your curiosity, please enjoy this detailed histogram that lays it all out.
This is a great graph to get because it's coming straight from NetEase, which means they're going to be representing basically the most accurate data they can. There is no point in them including a segment that's like this if they're not trying to reflect the data accurately. You can already see at the bottom that it says that it excludes players with less than or equal to 5 matches, but that's just one touch-up that they would have done out of probably many to make sure that this histogram actually portrays some sort of relevant or useful information. And when we compare it to the graphs that we've been looking at this entire time, we can see that not only is there an actual bell curve, which is exactly how statistics and normals work, meaning that this already makes more sense to trust, but it also gets rid of that skepticism with like how every rank is identical and there's no point. This really does like fix that up. And just the fact that bronze is sitting at 13.2% of the players, to me means that they've neatened up that horrible starting line at bronze 3 when they actually compared this. And that was probably just the removing of equal to or less than 5 matches played. And it just shows, I mean, this data is going to represent mostly all the platforms. Everything is all going to be taken into account because these dev videos aren't just made for PC players. But that about just does it for the competitive changes.
In closing, thank you all for your unwavering support and passion. We can't wait to party with you at the Hellfire Gala. Ignite the battle!
Right, so there's some things that I skipped over there. Feel free to go check out the official video. I'll have it linked in the description or a card on the side of the screen right now. Takeaway notes, be very excited. This is great news, great changes. These are amazing things that are coming, and I'm very happy to see what they've done with the competitive scene and how they're changing the ranked game mode. It's all changes that I could have only dreamt for. So if you're a competitive player, if you're a casual player, it's becoming amazing. So be excited, hop on board. It's gonna be one hell of a great ride. If you guys liked that video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are on the change. Do you love it? Do you hate it? And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.